Have you ever imagined being drifted up towards thousands of barracudas and found yourself being caught in the middle of a jackfish tornado? Sipadan, a tiny island just a short boat ride off the east coast of Borneo, Malaysia, has one of the most diverse marine ecosystems and arguably the best dive sites in the world. I've dived in many amazing places, but being up against an entire wall of barracudas that is just an arm's length away, that's a once-in-a-lifetime moment I'll never ever forget. In this episode, I'll also introduce you to the Bajau people, also known as the Sea Gypsies, who have been roaming around this region for centuries. So sit tight, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Vincy. I do travel and scuba diving vlogs, so feel free to check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. Before I start, I want to apologize for not uploading any new videos in the last few weeks. I got caught up with some life admin, but I'm back now and I do aim to upload every 2 to 3 weeks like I did before. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel. At the time of recording this video, I had hit 600 subscribers. That honestly means so much to me. So thank you all for your support and please continue to do so. I also love it when you guys leave comments in the comment section and reach out to me directly on Instagram. Please continue to do so and I'll try my best to respond to you guys. Now onto today's video. So in August last year, I went on a solo dive trip to one of the world's best dive sites, Sipadan Island in eastern Borneo. This was done before I started doing YouTube videos, so some of the footage is going to be in portrait, and back then I didn't have my dive lights yet. But as I was organizing my footage, I was like, you know what? The diving there was absolutely mind-blowing. This footage still looks incredible. The jackfish tornadoes, walls of barracudas, schools of giant bumphead parrotfish. I have to show them to people. So in this video, I'm gonna take you guys into the underwater world of Malaysia and also introduce you guys to the Bajau people, who are also known as the Sea Gypsies, who live in that region. And make sure to stay until the end of the video for the Sipadan song. So one important thing to note that is you can't actually stay on Sipadan Island itself. There used to be resorts there, but in 2004, the Malaysian government banned all overnight stays. This is partly to protect the marine system there, but it's also due to the militant attack that happened in year 2000, where tourists and resort workers were being kidnapped from the island. And this is why if you go to Sipadan Island or the nearby islands nowadays, you see military people stationed there. I personally didn't feel unsafe when I was there, but I do think this is something worth being aware of. I stayed on Mabu Island, which was lovely. To get there, I flew into Tawau, and from Tawau, it was a 2-hour taxi ride to Semporna, and then a 45 minutes boat ride to Mabu Island. And because I got to Semporna in the evening, I had to stay there for one night before going to Mabu Island the next morning. I personally would not recommend staying in Semporna if you can avoid it. I would say Semporna is one of the very few places that I've been to that made me feel really quite uneasy. The streets were really dirty, there was just rubbish everywhere, and you see a lot of children, mainly from the Bajau community, begging on the streets and in restaurants. Like they will wait around with plastic bags just to collect leftover scraps from people who were done eating. The way the shop owners treated them was just really heartbreaking to watch. So if you're going to Sipadan Island, I would say stay on Mabu Island and avoid Semporna if possible. To dive at Sipadan Island, you at least have to be an advanced open water certified diver, and you also need to get a permit for it. At the time of recording this video, only 176 permits are being issued each day, and each one costs 350 Malaysian ringgit for non-Malaysians. And each permit allows you to dive up to twice a day at Sipadan Island, and all the dives have to be finished by 5 p.m. at the latest. So when I dove there, we always did our first 2 dives at the island and then the 3rd dive back at Mabu. And because of the limited number of permits available each day, I actually know people who have gone all the way there and didn't get to dive at Sipadan because they couldn't get a permit. So my advice would be to book your trip as early as possible. Unfortunately, the permit fees do make diving at Sipadan Island quite expensive compared to all the other dive sites in Southeast Asia. But I would say from what you can see there, which I'll be showing you guys right now, it is absolutely worth it, even if you guys just go for 1 or 2 days. So during my trip, I actually dived at 3 different islands, Sipadan, Mabul, and a lesser well-known island called Siamil, and they are all on the east coast of Sabah in the Celebes Sea. So Mabul Island is more for muck diving, and that was where I did my first ever night dive, and it was so much fun. I remember feeling extremely nervous before going in, but once I was in the water, it just felt like an underwater disco with everyone's torches lighting up the reef. It was just incredible. So if you have never done a night dive or are thinking about doing one, I highly recommend doing so. And for Sipadan, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is famous for jackfish tornadoes, water barracudas, giant bump-head parrotfish, reef sharks, lots and lots of turtles, you name it. It was just one thing after another. There was just so much to see. And we actually dived into the blue a few times trying to find hammerheads, but we just weren't lucky enough. So, sad times. And at Siamil, you can see devil rays. And because not many people know about this dive site and not many dive centers go there, the day we went, we were actually the only group there, and it was just so peaceful and awesome. Now, enough of me talking, time to see some underwater actions. When you visit that part of the world, even if you're not into scuba diving, you get to see lots of incredible nature moments if you're lucky. I remember there was one day where we were heading out to our dive sites and suddenly one of the dive guys shouted, "Dolphins!" And then we just saw this whole pod of dolphins swimming right next to our boat. You know how there's always that one person on the boat who's so slow to turn around and just misses all the actions? Well, that's usually me. But this time I actually saw them and it was just absolutely incredible, magical, and it just really made my heart melt.
Whoa. Oh my God, wow.
That's a big one. Yeah, look at mine there, mine.
Whoa.
And then there was this other day we were doing service interval and then someone on the boat suddenly shouted, "Whales!" And then we just saw this whole pod of whales with their tails sticking out of the water. And this went on for 10 minutes. People were shouting, everyone was super excited. They were quite far away. Some people said they were pilot whales. I'm not too sure myself. So if you know what they are, please leave a comment in the comment section and let me know.
Look at
Look at that whale!
Please come here.
Oh.
Please.
Yeah, look at him. See? Wow, look at him.
So beautiful.
How deep is it over there? How deep is it over there? How deep is it? Oh! Oh my God! Look at them! Oh!
You're not sperm whale.
At first I thought it's just sperm whale. I was like, wow! Oh my God! Look at the tail! Look at the tail! Showing off again!
They're coming.
Are they coming?
Yeah.
I might call them.
And then there's this other morning where we were on the dock of the dive resort getting ready to set off our first dive of the day. And then I looked to my left-hand side and there was a sea snake. Obviously I was a little scared because they're venomous, but at the same time I was just so fascinated, especially because it was my first time ever seeing a sea snake. My point is, even when you're not underwater, you get to see so much and you're never gonna know what wildlife is gonna appear next. The whole experience was just absolutely magical. I just love it so much. Okay, so this is very embarrassing for me to admit, but before going on to this trip, I actually didn't know about the Bajau community. I didn't even know they existed. So historically, Bajau people are the sea gypsies that roam freely between the waters of the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And they live in still houses or on boats. And they're actually known to be amazing free divers because they can hold their breath for a very long time underwater. On Bajau Island, where I stayed during my trip, most of the locals there were Bajau people. And I'll always see them, even children, paddling wooden boats, catching fish, and sometimes even looking in the shallow waters, hunting for shellfish or oysters. I did notice that most of the travelers tend to stay inside the resorts. I mean, I completely understand, but at the same time, if you do have time to spare, it's actually very fun and safe to wander around the island. One day after our dives, me and another girl that I met there went exploring the island ourselves, and everyone we met were just extremely friendly. Like adults would be sitting in front of the houses, chatting, kids were just playing around, being super curious about us. And then there were these two sisters who followed us around the island. It was so adorable. Moments like this really made me wish I could speak the language so I can communicate with them, learn more about their lives and their culture, and actually connect with them. After reading more about it and talking to people, I do realize that Bajau people in Malaysia face very serious challenges like poverty, lack of citizenship, limited access to education. It's a really complex and heavy topic, and it's one of those things that make you reflect on life a bit differently. If you are interested, I do encourage you to read more about it because I think learning about the people is one of the best ways to truly understand a place. Thank you so much for staying until the end of the video. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed it, please do like, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notification button. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think and if there are any other videos you guys would like to see me do next. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!